Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for Customer-Focused Marketing for Small Businesses. I'm Rebecca Chauncey, a business advisor here at the Illinois Small Business Development Center, or SBDC at Build Bronzeville. We're so happy to have you today. And this training is brought to you at no cost because it's funded in part through a cooperative agreement with the United States Small Business Administration, or the US SBA, the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity, and the Urban Juncture Foundation. So today's training, as you can see, will be all the things that, or many things, maybe not all, as our presenter will share, customer-focused marketing for small businesses. And I know you're looking forward to it, as I am. So before we move forward, just a couple of housekeeping notes. Remember to type any questions you have today in the Q&A section, which you will see at the bottom of your screen. So if you move your mouse to the bottom of your screen, you'll see Q&A. Please type all of your questions there. And if relevant in the moment, I will ask our presenter to address it at that time. And for some questions, we will table them until the end for our Q&A section. Also, if you may notice that the chat will be open too, and there will be times where you will need to respond quickly to something the presenter says. You can type that there. So remember, quick responses, type them in the chat. If you have questions, place those in the Q&A section. And without further ado, I want to introduce you to our presenter. CJ Harris is an Illinois Google digital coach and the owner of That's So Creative Media. With all of her knowledge and passion for media and marketing, I know that she will really share all that she can and support your work. And so we thank you, and a round of applause, if you will, for CJ Harris. She'll tell you more about her too.
Hello. Thank you so much, Rebecca. That was amazing. And welcome to today's workshop. As Rebecca mentioned, I am the Grow with Google digital coach for Illinois. And Grow with Google is a program that provides a lot of great trainings, various business topics for small businesses, and not just small businesses as well. You'll see that towards the end. But I am so excited to be here today. I am a business owner. I'm right here in the trenches with you. I've been a business owner now for the past 7 years. It'll be 8 years in June. And so my company, That's So Creative, is a full service creative marketing agency where we do website development, marketing, digital marketing, social media, communications, branding, and brand strategy. So I'm excited to offer this workshop today. And as Rebecca mentioned, we do like to be interactive. So, definitely, number one, put your questions in the Q&A. But if there is a quick response or you have a comment or something's resonating with you, definitely feel free to drop that into the chat. I would also like to get just kind of a lay of the land, like who's in the room. You feel free to, drop your business name in the chat and how many years you've been in business, because that helps me to tailor the presentation to your specific needs. So I do like to know who I'm talking to in the room, so that I'm not like, going over, baby steps for those who maybe have been in business for 10 years, or if you've been in business for, 20 years or 2 years, I want to make sure that we're tailoring the presentation. So definitely drop your, feel free to drop your company and how long you've been in business in the chat. All right, so we've got a couple people. House of Bella, 7 years. Okay, great. So let's dive in. So in today's workshop, we're going to learn why this marketing is so important for our business. We're going to introduce you to the marketing funnel and the customer journey, and we're going to explain more about how marketing can influence your business and who does business with you. You're also going to learn how to reach prospective customers and build that brand awareness that we covet so much for our businesses. And we're going to also talk about how can we better engage with our customers and how can we better influence the decision process into consideration and then finally into conversions. And then how do we take those conversions and then build out customer loyalty? So super excited to talk to you about that. Now let's talk about the customer journey and the marketing funnel. I love this quote by Seth Godin. It says, great marketers don't create stuff or they don't make stuff, they make meaning. So what does it mean to make meaning? How do we make a meaningful experience for our customers? And how do we help them along that customer journey? Branding is all about storytelling, right? It's all about that emotional connection. So how do we make that emotional connection with our customers? And so we're going to take a look at some real stories of some real business owners, Shalyn and Sharika. And they are the founders of TW Tote. Now, Shalyn had a very unique problem. He could not find a professional lunch bag that matched his style. Now, I will say that I'm kind of average, you know. The whole like professional stylish tote bag for my lunch didn't really resonate with me because I'm subject to pull up to the workplace with a grocery bag or a tote bag that I got from a conference or something like that, right? But Shalyn is a professional. He wanted something that was affordable yet stylish, and so he decided to take matters into his own hands. And like many business owners, that's what we do, right? If we have a talent or a passion or a purpose, we'll just start a business, right? That's what a lot of entrepreneurs do. We see a problem or a need in the marketplace, and we create a business around that need or around that passion that we have. But how do we marry passion with purpose and profit, right? So a lot of us, we have the passion and the purpose, but maybe not the profits aren't quite lining up, right? So that's what Shalyn and Sharika, they found themselves in this position, right? So they had the passion and purpose, but that marketing knowledge wasn't quite connecting for them. And so they needed to establish a brand that could reach more customers and sell more products and build loyalty. So let's talk about what is marketing and how do we begin this process, right? So number one, we want to create meaning and storytelling. Number two, we want to build relationships. We want to build trust and credibility. And lastly, we want to influence our customers on their journey. Now, feel free to put a 1 in the chat if you've heard of the marketing funnel or the customer journey. Hopefully you have heard of these concepts. And if not, that's why we're here today. And even if you have, great. So you have, I see a couple people, you've heard of these concepts. I'm also looking at, okay, Brianna's starting her business next month. Alexander, 5 years. Great. So super excited to talk to you. So we have a nice mix of businesses here. So with the marketing funnel or the customer funnel, we want to learn how to maximize and optimize this funnel. So first of all, we want to talk about awareness. What is awareness? In this phase, it's where a potential customer basically discovers you, right? Awareness could be word of mouth. It could be through a Google search or an ad. And then next we move into the consideration phase. And so this is where your customer is deciding, who do they want to buy from? Do I want to buy from this brand or do I want to buy from another brand? You know, you're weighing your options. Do I like this color or that color? What's the quality? What's the texture? So it's really at that consideration phase is where people are asking a lot of questions about the brand, and what they discover about your brand could tip them one way or the other. So that's why this phase is very critical. And then next, in the conversion phase, this is where they've decided to make that purchase, but you still don't have them, right? Until that money is in your hands, you still don't have that customer, right? And so we want to talk about some tactics and techniques that you can make that conversion phase a lot easier for your customers. And then finally, we want to talk about the loyalty phase. And that's where we begin to create brand advocates. This is where people will shout you out. They'll give that word of mouth recommendation, not for you, but about you, right? And so that's what we want to do. We want to build loyalty within our customers. So again, kind of talked about this, especially in that consideration phase. How do you help them find the answers? How do you turn those leads into customers? And then do your customers return? So that's another key point. Do they actually return, and what could be hindering them from returning? So if you're not getting a lot of repeat customers, if you're not getting that word of mouth, you may want to take a look at, what was that customer experience like? So let's talk through how we reach prospects and create that awareness. And so as I mentioned before, there's different ways of how you build awareness. And so it may be a Google search. So definitely you want to make sure that your business is listed on Google. It may be word of mouth. It may be through advertising. So maybe you're running social media ads or you're running Google ads. Or it may be through trade show marketing. Maybe you have a booth at a conference. Those are all great ways to build awareness about your brand. And of course, searching online. So if a company, again, if they're searching, if you sell socks and they want new socks, they may find your company. Maybe it's compression socks or, a special sock or something like that. So let's talk through how we identify customers, how we brand your business, and how we get customers online. So again, we want to begin to build that interest. We want to identify our target market, and we want to build a solid brand and get the business online. So let's talk a little more in detail about this. So number one, identifying your customers. How many of you hopefully have identified your customers? I hope you've been through a program or a process like this where you're identifying your target audience. So we want to look at demographics, right? So that's race, age, gender. We want to look at psychographics. That's their behaviors, their interests, their affinities. What do they like? What are their hobbies? Do they like certain groups versus certain other things? How do they like to shop? What are their behavior patterns, right? And then next we want to look at geographics. So location, location, location. So if you have a brick and mortar location, this is going to be crucial for you. Or if somehow, even if your services are more location based, understanding the geographics is going to be very crucial as well. And then lastly, behavior. So again, how do they shop? How do they make purchases? And so let's take a look at one of my favorite techniques and one of my favorite tools of really getting to understand your customer or your target audience. And this is what we like to call customer personas. And so basically a customer persona represents a group of similar people in a desirable audience. And so these customer personas are fictional, and they use goals and characteristics that represent the larger group. So we'll pull out from the larger group, we'll pull out one person who's a good representation of that larger group, and we'll begin to build a story and a persona around them. And a persona is really great because it helps you to focus your marketing materials on a single person and a single message. Many times I'll ask small businesses, well, who's your target audience? And they'll say, oh, women. I'm like, okay, women Like, well, all women, my brand reaches all women. It's like, well, no, your brand can't reach all women, right? A woman in her 20s is in a different stage of life than a woman in her 50s, right? So you can't say, you know, my brand reaches all people or all women or all men or all kids or whatever. So we really want to be very focused. And this is kind of difficult. I found it to be difficult as well at times. But let's take a look at this example. So we have Metro Michaela. And so remember that these examples are reflecting our case study that we talked about earlier with Shalyn and Sharika. And so Metro Michaela, she's in her mid-30s, female, single. She lives in a large city. She's college educated. She works in fashion. Her interests are cooking, wine, travel, and she shops locally. All right. So these are some of the characteristics of a person who would be interested in the brand for TW Tote. Now let's talk about, you know, once you've identified your customer, how do you then begin to communicate with them on a visual and a communication and an emotional level? So once you've identified that brand, we want to know what is going to appeal to them. So branding is more than just the logo, right? Your brand is not your logo. Your brand is all of these things. It's the graphics, it's the colors, it's the messaging, the tone of voice. So let's make sure that our branding and our branding efforts align with the values of your target audience. And feel free, you know, to drop in the chat if you feel like your branding as it is today, do you feel like it aligns with your target audience? Do you feel like there's that alignment there? Or do you feel like there's some things that you could do differently to tweak your brand and your messaging? And so next, we want to make sure that we're branding based on ideals and values. And so we want to create an identity that appeals to prospective customers. So we want it to communicate, we want the brand to communicate who you are, who you want to be, and who you stand for. As the old adage says, that people want to do business with people who they like, know, and trust. So do people like, know, and trust your brand? And this comes in through really personifying your own brand and understanding who you are and what you stand for. And so how we're going to do that, so this will be an interactive exercise. So as Rebecca mentioned before, I hope you have something to write with. You can pull up a Google Doc or a sheet of paper and just follow along with us with creating a brand positioning statement. This brand positioning statement will seek to identify who you serve and what you offer, what differentiates you, and what is your brand promise or your mission, right? How are you the best at what you do? What differentiates you from your customers, or what is what we call your unique value proposition? So brand positioning statements, they need to be brief and they need to be clear and memorable. And so a good brand positioning statement, it provides a very cohesive and powerful experience for your customers. And so let's start here with that. So I'm going to pull up this template and feel free to screenshot this or again, write it down. So this is the template for the brand positioning statement. So we're going to start with for audience, who, customer challenge or need, your company provides, and then we want to add our product differentiator, our product and our differentiator, and then because of the brand promise or mission. Now, I know I butchered that, so we're going to actually read an example of a good brand positioning statement. So again, this is for TW Tote. And so their brand positioning statement is, for working professionals who need a stylish and functional lunch bag, TW Tote provides fashionable, insulated, vegan leather totes because everyone deserves a luxurious and functional lunch bag the entire family can use. So again, let's take a look at this. and I'll go back. And feel free, if you're following along, if you feel comfortable, feel free to drop your positioning statement in the chat. Or if you have questions around how to create a brand positioning statement or questions about anything that I've shared so far, feel free to put those in the Q&A. So I'll give you a couple minutes to work on your brand positioning statement. Does anyone have any questions so far? No questions?
Not yet.
Okay. Awesome, awesome. Okay, so now that you've got your brand positioning statement and you've defined your prospective customers, we want to make sure that the brand is designed to speak to them, and that when it's time for them to find you, that they can actually find you, right? So number one, we want to get our business online, and we want to make sure that we're on social media. If there's any other directories, so there's other, directories. We have Google, of course, and Yelp, um, Yahoo, things like that. But then there may be other directories as well. So think about your professional organizations, your trade shows, things like that. Think about where else can your name be mentioned or your company be mentioned? Where else can people find you? And then there's also online marketplaces. So again, we mentioned things like Yelp and stuff like that. So, and Etsy and all of that. So we have online marketplaces, we have directories, we have social media. And then next, we want to make sure that your business is not only online, but that you have a really great website. And one of the key benefits of having a website is that you own it and you control it. A lot of times I hear business owners say, well, I have a Facebook page or I have a social media page and I do all my business there. It's like, well, if one of those social media giants, if they decide to shut down tomorrow, there goes all your business and all your customers along with it, right? So we want to make sure that we have a website that we own and control and that grows as our business grows.
Excuse me, CJ, we have a question.
Sure.
This is from Brianna, who says, I think my business will apply to people at multiple stages of life. However, do you think it's better to niche down and pick one target audience and expand later?
Yes, absolutely. So in marketing, we like to think of it in terms of like a T, right? So a T, we know, has a crossbar and then there's a bar that goes down. So that T, that crossbar, may be what you're talking about in terms of, oh, my brand reaches all these different groups and audiences and everything like that. So there's the crossbar, but then you definitely want to niche down and start to specialize in one specific thing that you could be known for, and you niche down with that. And then you can still do the other things, but you definitely want to niche down with that one specialty, that one particular thing that you are known for, so that when people think, oh, branding, let me go to CJ. Marketing, let me go to CJ. So you want to begin to niche down at the very least. And if you can niche down like your messaging even, so like, let's say, for instance, I build websites, and it's funny that we're kind of talking about this because sometimes I feel like I don't take my own advice, but let's say I build websites, right? And so we're actually building out a program specifically for small businesses. And one thing that I've learned by experience is that it's very hard to talk to many different people. As they say, if you're talking to everyone, then you're actually talking to no one. And so with our side kind of department within our company, we've realized that, okay, I need to niche down to a certain subset of women. So it's professional women, 35 to 55, who have some kind of like coaching practice or service or professional service or something like that. So by necessity, I've had to force myself to take my own medicine, if that makes sense. Um, any other questions around that? But yeah, you're going to be a lot more profitable. Awesome. Yeah, you're going to be a lot more profitable if you pick a niche starting out. And then once you specialize in that one area, then you can kind of branch out into the other areas. And it's going to make it so much simpler for business. When I tell you, like, building out systems and processes for your business, if you're trying to build 10 different systems for 10 different audience types, that's going to be a nightmare for your company. Take it from me, from experience. All right, I can talk about that all day, as you can see. So next, we want to create a free business profile on Google. So if you do not have a business profile, this is an awesome way to manage your business info. And so I'm sure you've seen when you go on Google, if you're typing in a business, you'll see that business's profile in the right-hand side, or if it's online, you'll see it reflected more like what you see on the screen. But this is free. So this is not an ad. You don't have to pay for this, but it helps to boost your business in the search. So I absolutely recommend that everyone have a Google business profile. You can go to google.com/business. And so next we want to engage and influence consideration. So this is that phase that I was talking about where people have questions. They want to know, can you do the service? Can you do the work? What does it look like? How much does it cost? What's different from this? What makes your brand different from this brand? And so the more questions that you can answer for people, the easier it's going to be for them to make a decision to buy from your company. So again, they're evaluating your brand, they're gathering that information, and we want to make it simple for them to do that. And so at this phase, we also want to engage with our customers. So we want to listen and we want to learn. So think about this. If your customers are always asking the same questions over and over again, that could be some cues to you like, oh, maybe I should put that information on the website. So if I'm constantly getting calls and it's the same call over and over again, it's all right, let me put that on the website. Let me make a social media post about it. So you're listening, you're communicating, you're delivering value, and then you're developing relationships. So again, at this phase, we're not necessarily trying to sell, we're just trying to establish relationship. And so for listening and learning, again, determining those pain points. So again, if the person's pain point in this situation was, man, there's no affordable lunch bags out there that are stylish and yet affordable and sleek and chic and match my style, that's a pain point for that particular customer, that particular audience. And so these pain points need to address the challenges that they face, and you need to find out what they're searching for online. Now, one thing that Shalyn and Sharika found out with their company is that people love the lunch bags, but they also wanted different types and different varieties and styles. So they started out with one, type of tote bag, but then they discovered later on that people were like, well, I don't really like brown. I want more versatility in my colors, or this one's a little big and bulky. Do you have something more slim? And so this is also, it's not just branding and marketing, this is also a little bit of product development, right? And so you don't want to continue to just market something that people are like, it doesn't quite fit my needs, right? It's a little bit easier when you have a service-based business. I think, for us, it's easier to really kind of take in that feedback in real time and kind of tweak and modify our services versus, changing your whole product schema. But definitely listen to your customers, right? It'll help you be more profitable. And so again, what are they looking for? How do your customers search? And so this is where we get into a little bit of technical skill and technical expertise around our research. So your customers may be searching for fashionable tote bags, or they may be searching for style tips. You can use these search terms to then kind of flesh out your marketing. So if you're looking and researching these search terms, you can start to use these search terms in your marketing. And so you'll see an example of that here. So whenever you go on a Google search page, you'll see a search query, and then you'll see all the results. But then at the bottom, you may see something called related searches, and that appears right below the search results. And this is where you can get really valuable information around what else are people searching for, what other terms are they using to describe the products and services that you offer. So you may be calling it a tote bag, but maybe people on this side of town, they call it a lunch bag. So again, it's just giving you that information that you need. Another way how you can gather information is by using Google Trends. I love this tool. It's a game changer in terms of content creation and marketing. And so it helps you to explore what the world is searching for. So you can see the search results on a global level. You can also see it on a regional level. So you can see what terms are trending around a product or a service. So if I do digital marketing services and I type in digital marketing, I can see, what other terms are trending around that. So is online marketing, is that terminology, is that trending versus content marketing, is that trending? And then where is it trending? So I'm in Illinois, is it trending in Illinois versus California? So it's really a great tool. You can visit that by g.co/trends. And so next, we want to communicate. So we want to share valuable content. We want to educate and inspire. We want to help them with their research, and we want to establish expertise. All right, so we want to establish ourselves as a credible resource for them. So again, with Shannon and Sharika, they sell stylish lunch bags. So what types of content should they be talking about? I would assume fashion tips, style tips, even some workplace related content. So we want to become a valuable resource for our customers and our target audience. And so next, we want to make sure that we're sharing out the content. So now that we have a little bit of a content strategy, we've done some research through Google search, we've done more research through Google Trends, we have our personas. Now we want to get the message out through social media channels. And so there's many different channels, many different content channels, I should say. So we have social media, we have email, YouTube, podcasts, online blogging, online publishing, website, blog. All right. So hopefully you are on these platforms. And again, let me know if you have any questions so far.
No questions. I think they're taking it all in, CJ.
All right. All right. So we want to remember too that we're sharing and we're not selling. So again, we're in the consideration phase. So going back to FAQs, comparison specs, demo videos, webinars, white papers, samples. So we're sharing, right? At this point, they're getting a lot of value. They're getting a lot of content. If you've ever watched some of your favorite YouTubers present information, they're giving tons of value in their YouTube channels, right? They're giving tons of value, but guess what? There is a product or a service at the end of that value that they're giving you, but they're bringing you into their ecosystem, right? They're bringing you into their funnel by offering a lot of value. Or even when you go on a product website, there's all types of comparison specs and demos. You can try it out before you buy it. Like that's all that customer service that we want to offer. So we definitely want to level up our customer service and our customer care, even before they become a paying customer. And so again, we want to develop relationships. We want to solve problems. We want to have conversations. We want to be available to people. So if they're asking us questions on social media, we definitely want to be replying in the comments. We want to take their phone calls. Marketing during the consideration phase can be long, right? It does take a little bit of patience that sometimes we don't always have. But if you're consistent with your content strategy and you're consistently showing up, it will pay off. And so we have another business owner that we want to meet, or two business owners, Tracy and Danny. They are the founders of Wicked Good Cupcakes. And in 2010, they took a cake decorating class. And so their passion again became a business, and they opened their first store in 2011. Their reputation grew, shipping requests came in, but they couldn't find a way to ship the cupcakes in a way that would arrive fresh and intact. So they started filling those cupcakes in mason jars and putting them in frosting, and they could actually stay fresh for 10 days without refrigeration. Now, this innovation, right? So we're talking about innovation and problem solving. They started with just the cupcakes, right? But then they recognized that they had a challenge and a need and a pain point that they had to solve. So that caused them to innovate. And then that innovation actually helped them to gather a little bit more press. So they actually got on Shark Tank, and a lot of different things started to go well for them. And so you would think like, well, why are we talking about them when they're doing so great? Like they got on Shark Tank, that's amazing. But they realized that they had some other challenges. And so as they were trying to take the business to new heights, they learned that they needed to improve their website. So they actually needed to improve their customer experience online, and they needed to give customers a reason to come back. So again, like once that novelty wears off, like once you have a cupcake in a jar the first time, like, do I really want another cupcake in a jar again? Like, what's going to make me come back? What's going to make me become a loyal customer? So when I think about my favorite treat, or if I want to treat myself, or I want to indulge, I want to think Wicked Good Cupcakes, right? So they realized that they had some customer retention problems, and they had problems with their online checkout experience. And so this is where we pave the way to conversion. So let's talk about this conversion phase. How do customers become leads, or how do leads become customers? So we want to turn those prospects into paying customers. That process is called conversion, okay? And so there's multiple steps in the conversion process. So first of all, we want to identify the key actions that the prospects will take. And then we want to share timely calls to action on our website. So if it's click here, buy now, get started. We want to streamline the purchase process. So we want to make it seamless and easy for people to buy now. Right, so we don't want them to have to click through a lot of pages and a lot of windows. We want to make sure that process is as seamless as possible and as clear as possible. And so some actions that customers can take are, number one, email sign up. Right, so a customer may not be ready to buy at that time, or maybe they have bought before, but you've given them a reason to stay in your ecosystem. You've given them a reason to want to stay connected to you. Another action item is form completion. content download. So if you're offering free ebooks or checklists, things like that, content download, trial, demo, or request. So trial or demo request. So if you have a product, you can offer a free trial. Even if you have a service, you can offer, your first 10 days free or something like that. App download, phone calls, consultations, placing placing an item in the cart. Now, the cool thing about this is all of these that are mentioned right here, these can actually be tracked through Google Analytics. So you can actually begin to track your effectiveness on each one of these different items and have a report, at the end of the week or the end of the month to see how are we doing on email signups, how are we doing on phone calls and consultations. Are people going to our checkout page and they're placing an item in the cart? Are they abandoning the cart? Or are they following through on the conversion? Like, what's the conversion rate? And so then next we want to share timely calls to action. So what can we do to further entice people to buy? What can we do to further influence that process? So it could be a discount or a deal. It could be an exclusive offer. It could be an invitation to a webinar or an event. Customer testimonials. So making sure that you have what we call social proof. So has this business done this before? Was it a good experience? So we want to have that social proof. For someone like me, it would maybe be a customer testimonial, a portfolio, things like that. And then we want to have other cool things like free shipping or some other value add, like, get a free gift card or something with your purchase, just all types of things that we can do to inspire that sale. And so next, again, we want to streamline the process. So we want to reduce the number of steps in the checkout process. We want to also offer a guest checkout. So we don't necessarily want people, especially if you have a product or it's more of an impulsive purchase. We don't want them to have to sign up and create an account and all this kind of thing. We just guest checkout, like, can I just buy without even interacting with you? I want to feed my impulse, okay, before it goes away. And then we want to provide value added services or benefits. So this is what we sometimes call a cross promotion. So there may be other items or related items that can further encourage the sale. And so, as I mentioned before, Google Analytics is a no-cost tool that can also help you identify some of those key customer actions. So again, if people are coming to your About page and they're spending a lot of time there, but then they're not going anywhere else, that could be a sign to you that somehow I'm not converting customers to go to the next page. So you're looking at the analytics, you're figuring out, okay, people are landing on this page, right? But they're exiting on this page. Or those customer signups, people are abandoning the cart. How do people find my site? Where are they coming in from? Who are my referrals? Are they coming in from social media? Are they coming in from Google search? Do I need to invest my ad dollars here versus there? So all this data is giving you the information that you need to make the decisions that you need to make. Right? Google Analytics will also tell you, like, what are the demographics of the people who are buying my products or my services. So maybe my messaging is off because the data is telling me something different. I thought my customer was this, but the data is telling me that my customer actually is a suburban mom, or something like that, right? Because you can look at geographics as well. And then what channels are driving the most traffic, and then what channels are driving the most conversions. So again, we're making decisions based off of the actual data. So any questions on analytics or conversions before we move on? Okay. So next, we want to convert customers with online advertising. So we can use ads to drive sales. We can use ads to drive calls to action. We can show ads to the right people at the right time. So that's the beauty of an ad, right? So if I'm binging my favorite YouTube channel, an ad will pop up right at the right moment, at the right time, with the right data to target me or to target you. So it's definitely an effective tool to use. But again, we want to use these tools carefully. We want to use them based on real data. And so going back to Google Analytics, that's a free tool that you can install in your website to give you more of that data. Now, finally, let's talk about how we build loyalty and advocacy. This is something that we don't necessarily spend enough time on, right? So we know that word of mouth is one of the most powerful forms of marketing, but we don't oftentimes spend enough time in this area. And so loyalty, do your customers return and recommend you to others? And what can we do to help inspire loyalty? And so one of the things that we can do is to provide more value. So again, if someone's on my email list, if I'm taking the time to educate them, to inspire them, to communicate, that's one way how I'm building loyalty. We can also sustain customer loyalty through programs and incentives. So if you have a sale going on, it's Black History Month. Do you all have your Black History sales going? Do you have your Women's History sales going, your discounts? So there's a lot of different programs and incentives that you can offer. If they buy one, get one free. Buy $50 worth and you get free shipping, things like that. Exclusive offers. And we also want to encourage advocacy amongst our customers. So we want to encourage them, hey, share this on social media. Take a picture with the product and post it. Use hashtag, whatever your product or service is. And so then we want to build loyalty again through staying in touch. We want to provide stellar customer service. So if they have a question, we want to answer those emails quickly and efficiently. We want to answer phone calls quickly. We want to ask them for feedback. So oftentimes after we deliver a service, we will send out a feedback form that's not just geared towards getting a testimonial, but on our form, we really want to know, like, what was the service like for you? What inspired you to buy? What do you feel like we could do differently or better, right? So that helps people to know that, oh, okay, they really care about me and my business, or they really care about me as a customer. They're not just trying to get my business. And then you want to make sure that you're continuously improving your products or services. And then you want to delight them in unexpected ways. So how can you delight them? You can send them a thank you card or send them a gift basket or just something special to let them know that you care. And so again, sustaining customer loyalty could be offering a VIP program, exclusive offers, VIP. If you've been with us for a certain amount of time, maybe you get a discount, various perks, personalized programs. So we can begin to customize programs for some of our VIPs, right? Some of our loyal customers. And that's just like with any relationship, right? People want to know, like, okay, I'm not just your friend, I'm a good friend, right? And there's different things that you do for just a friend versus a good friend. And so again, engaging and encouraging that customer advocacy through online reviews, case studies, referral programs, contests, and social sharing. And so just a couple tips. Again, if you have that Google Business profile, which I really, really encourage you to do that. If you have that profile, make sure that you're accepting reviews and you're asking people for reviews, right? And then if you do happen to get reviews, you want to make sure you respond promptly. So whether they're positive or negative, you want to say, hey, Thanks so much for, your feedback. Thanks so much for commenting. And then if it's negative, you want to also respond to that as well, being courteous and genuine and offering to, settle their issue offline. And so let's just think about really quickly who can be an advocate for you. So your customers, your employees, your partners. So if you have strategic partners or if you have vendors, they can be advocates for you. Influencers and affiliates. Now they do get paid, right? For their influence, whether it's through free product or free merch, or you're actually, paying them via a contract. But influencers and affiliates could also be a great way to inspire advocacy and get the word out about your business. And so we want to wrap up with asking you, what is your plan of action? So I want you to write down one thing that you're going to do after this workshop to better launch your business. It says launch your business, but we want to know, what are you going to do? I know I covered a lot of topics, and so I'll just briefly kind of go over some of those. And again, feel free to ask questions and feel free to drop in the chat too. What's your action step going to be? So again, really quick recap, awareness, how do customers find you? Consideration, how can they find the answers? How can you deliver value and communicate and build those relationships? And then with conversion, how do you identify those key actions and ready customers? So I don't think I mentioned this. The key actions also give you information that that customer is ready to buy. They are ripe for the picking, right? Ripe for purchase. And so those key actions, if they signed up for a form, if they submitted an inquiry, those will let you know that these people are ready for a purchase, or at least ready for a deeper conversation. And so then again, what are those timely calls to action that you're going to put? What kind of discounts are you going to offer? How are you going to streamline your checkout process? For those of you that sell online, I'm curious to know, what are you using for your online processors? What are you using? Are you using PayPal? Are you using Stripe? Do you have Wix, Square? Like, what are you using, and how are you effectively utilizing those tools to make sure that that process is seamless as possible? What's your onboarding process like? What's your sales call process like? If you have a service, someone wants to book a call with you, what's that process like? Really think through, like, how can I make this as simple and as seamless as possible? And then lastly, you want to encourage advocacy. And so again, I just want to thank you all for allowing me to do this presentation. We do have some really great resources for you. You can learn more about these topics on our YouTube channel, on our Grow with Google YouTube channel. And then also, if you're interested in any sort of certifications that Google may offer to further your career or just even your knowledge, there's tons of free courses online and certificates for high-paying jobs. And then lastly, there's resources not just for business owners, but also for teachers, students, job seekers, developers. And thank you again. And thank you again so much to SBDC Illinois Bronzeville, Build Bronzeville, for allowing me to do this workshop. And definitely here's our contact information where you can get more information and connect with me. Definitely feel free to email me here, screenshot this. I'm happy to answer any additional questions.
Yes, thank you so much, CJ. And we'll keep this slide up so you guys can see. As CJ mentioned, you can reach out to us for appointments. For those of you that are not clients yet with the Illinois SBDC at Build Bronzeville, you can reach out to us at the various ways listed there, email, website, and you can give us a call. But note that you will ultimately need to sign up to become a client via the website. So you should go there. And then you can see here where you can reach out to CJ via email, social, and you can visit the website that's listed there. thank you all for the kind comments. We thank you for being interactive, and many thanks to CJ for a phenomenal presentation. I know that we talk about marketing often, but I hope that you all feel as I do that CJ presented this in a way that reminded you of some things that you may already be aware of when it comes to marketing, and then open your eyes to things such as the advocacy. I think you can't emphasize that enough, because that allows you, as CJ mentioned, to build and maintain loyalty. And ultimately that means that you'll have repeat customers. Who doesn't want that? So we don't see any questions now, but before we say goodbye, please take the time to type any final questions in the Q&A section, or raise your hand if you're not in a position to type, and we can give you permission to say your question aloud before we go. Let's see, do we have any final questions before we go? Okay, well, also note, it looks like everyone's pretty clear, and that's fine. You will receive a recording of today's presentation along with the survey. Please complete that survey, because we'd like to know how we can provide more beneficial content and training that allows business owners like you to thrive. So your feedback is very much welcome, and there's also space where you'll be able to share potential topics that you think you'd like us to address in future sessions. Okay, oh, thank you so much. Glad to hear that. All of your feedback, we really appreciate your feedback. We appreciate your attention, your time, and here's to amazing new customers and maintaining the customer relationships that you already have. Continue to have a great day and week, and thanks again, CJ.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great week.